The 90s, the year that defined gaming, especially PC gaming, and also the year that a lot of full-motion games, or FMV games, came out. And with that came a slew of games that some deemed, well, not so family-friendly. For reasons. Now, I could do a list of these games, and however, that is another video. Because today, I'm going deep within my own twisted mind and pulling a memory of a game that I played back when I was a senior in high school. They came out when full-motion video games also came out with a soundtrack as well, so let's begin. No, I graduated from high school in 1996, but the game I remember came out in 94. That game, Burncycle. Think Cyberpunk 2077, but way better without glitches and never needing patches. Burncycle was released in 1994 by Philips Interactive Media. It started out as a Philips CDI game and then later released to the PC, and that's the version I got to play. Our story centers around Soul Cutter, a data thief for hire who lives on the fringes of society, hacking into corporate systems for the right price. But Cutter's life takes a drastic turn when his latest mission goes sideways. In the heat of a data heist, Cutter accidentally uploads a virus to his brain, a virus that's set to kill him in just 2 hours. This sets the stage for the game's main mechanic, a real-time countdown timer, adding urgency and tension to Cutter's journey. You're not just playing a game anymore, you're racing against time, trying to outsmart the virus and save Cutter's life. The gameplay in Burncycle is a mixture of point-and-click adventure, puzzle-solving, and action elements. You navigate a futuristic city, interact with shady characters, and solve increasingly complex puzzles, all the while trying to keep the timer from reaching 0. The mechanics aren't overly complicated, but they push players to stay sharp, adding to the tension. As you interact with various characters, from hackers to gang leaders, you gather clues, learn new skills, and piece together the mystery of who's set you up. The game really leans into cyberpunk aesthetic, with dialogue and visuals that feel ripped straight from the William Gibson novel Blade Runner. It's raw, gritty, and at times disorienting, but that's what makes it feel like a genuine dive into cyberpunk. Let's pause here for a minute because this soundtrack was one of the reasons I love this game so much. Back then, and still today, I always loved the whole cyberpunk synth sound, and Burncycle was full of it. To the point that most copies of the game came with a second CD, which was the soundtrack to the game. This was something new to me, and well, to my memory, there are only 2 other games that I know of that did the same thing. Those were Shivers and its sequel, Shivers 2. Maybe in a future video, I will talk about those 2. Now back to the main video. One of the game's most memorable features is its use of full-motion video, a staple of most 90s multimedia games. Burncycle uses FMV not just for its cutscenes, but conveying Cutter's deteriorating mental state, showing players flashes of distorted imagery and surreal landscapes. This combined with its trippy CGI gives Burncycle a unique look that's hard to forget. However, if you're playing it today, be prepared for visuals that can feel dated, but in the 90s this was cutting edge. As Cutter's mind succumbs to the virus, the screen becomes increasingly glitchy, with surreal images that illustrates his struggles against a hostile digital world. It's a clever way to pull the player into Cutter's frantic, chaotic experience. The puzzles in Burncycle are a mixed bag. Some require quick reflexes, while others demand logic and patience. These puzzles are tied to the game's themes of hacking and decryption, so you're often breaking into security systems, rearranging data, or decoding messages. They may feel clunky, but by today's standards, but they were ambitious at the time. Another standard element of it is its atmosphere. The world is rich with cyberpunk tropes, neon-lit alleys, dystopian cityscapes, and corrupt mega-corporations. Philips Media really captured the gritty techno-thriller feel. From shady characters to surrealistic backgrounds, Burncycle nails them all. The sense of a digital underworld, almost as if you've been dropped into a 90s cyberpunk fever dream. And of course, it wouldn't be a cyberpunk game without corporate enemies. The story explores the theme of corporate greed and the dehumanization that comes with technology. Cutter is constantly haunted by agents who want the data or simply want him out of the way. This theme resonates throughout the game as Cutter questions his own reality, his humanity, and his survival. So does Cutter make it out alive? Well, that's totally up to you. The game has multiple endings, rewarding players for making tough choices throughout. This choice element adds replayability, but you explore different outcomes based on your actions. So did I ever finish this game? Well, almost. You see, as I said earlier, the puzzles get harder and harder as you get along, and the final puzzle is a maze that, well, I almost nearly beat, but that time kept running out. Speedrunning it is the best way to play this game because it may be the only way to beat the timer. So, why do I love this game so much? Well, back in the 90s, yes, I had a console, and yes, I had a ton of games for it, but I was still, and am currently now, a PC gamer. And full motion games were some of my favorite games of all time, as well as FPS classics like Doom and Duke Nukem 3D. Burncycle has a place in my heart that I've loved as a kid. Over the years, I had lost the game disc, but somehow managed to keep the soundtrack to it. However, the look and feel of the game made it special. Not to mention, throughout most of the game, it was all a first person except for some cutscenes in the game. In 2015, I found another copy of the game on eBay and got it. I was planning on playing it once again on a trip to Vegas with my family. However, by that time, I assume now, the game was so old that modern laptops or desktops wouldn't even play the game at all. Hell, I've played a lot of 90s FMV games, some that even had as many sequels as movies like Fast and the Furious. But back then, it was a thing, and some of them I love playing. Maybe sometime I will do a video on some of those games. If you're really interested in playing this game and seeing it for yourself, I have a link I know of where you can actually play it in your browser. Trust me, you'll enjoy it, especially if you like games like Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, Burncycle is a bit flawed, but fascinating relics of the 90s, it's an ambitious use of real-time events, multimedia, and atmosphere make it a unique gem in the cyberpunk genre. For some, the rough visuals or dated mechanics might feel too clunky, but for fans of cyberpunk and experimental gaming, it's a journey worth taking. If you're ready to face the clock and dive into Burncycle and see if you can beat the countdown. Have you ever played Burncycle? Do you think it stands the test of time? Or is it better left in the past? Let us know in the comments, and if you've enjoyed this journey into retro cyberpunk, hit the subscribe button for more deep dives into gaming history. Until next time, I'm Professor Retro saying peace out and keep gaming.